Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, and everybody in between.
It is 8:30 in Vienna, which means it's time for It Should Be About Something.
That is correct.
That's right. Today is Thorsday, the 20th of October, 2022.
And this is episode 71. We have entered the gray zone.
Yes, all these shows are now younger than me. That's right. The grey zone it's not something and it's not nothing.
It's snumthing. Snumthing.
Numthing.
It's going to be about snumthing, people.
Numping. It sounds like a slightly sexual thing. It's going to be about numping. Snumthing. It's something you do with your underpants on, but you can do it with a partner.
Yeah. The over the bra stuff. Just doing over the bra stuff here in the snumthing. It should be about snumthing. Michael.
Jim.
How's your week's been?
My weeks, yeah. So while we update each other how our weeks have been, why don't you drop us a line in the chat and tell us what you've been doing for the past 8 years?
Yeah. How about one thing that was super fun? Drop that in there. What you got? So something that was super fun. Dude, we're so in black and gray. This is crazy.
Yeah, we have a new background.
What about
we have an old background.
Yeah, we're immigrants. This is our background.
We are grey worms in the snumthing. Drinking, yes, definitely. How's my week's been? My week's been crazy.
Yeah.
I'm the bottle carrier, the milk bottle carrier.
The milk bottle carrier.
That's what my weeks are.
I imagine
in fact, these days I'm the warmer of baby food, like porridge. I'm the milk bottle carrier, and now I've graduated to being milk bottle carrier and porridge maker.
Dare to dream, dare to dream, Michael. I imagine you as the milk bottle carrier in a flak suit, you know, like with just milk bottles all stuck in there,
wasn't
all
there
military.
the movie, those little Fockers or something, that FBI, ex-FBI agent had that feeding bra with bottles in it.
Probably, yeah.
So he didn't confuse his kids.
Yeah.
His grandchildren. I had a weird moment today, actually. I took my daughter to the dock.
Yeah.
And I needed to go for a pee, but I couldn't leave her anyway. So I'm like, well, come with me.
Yeah.
So I put her down in the toilet, and
Right.
I'm taking a pee, and she's looking up at me, and I'm looking down at her, and she's like,
These are the moments I'm going to remember, Dad.
and I'm like, yeah, this is quality dad and daughter time.
So that's the thing about memory, right? They say we don't get imprinted memories until we're 3 or 4 years old. And maybe there's a good reason for that.
Possibly. We're learning about this, actually. It's very, very small children.
Slurpers,
seem
people.
to know more.
Slurpers.
No, I remember more than you do.
No, that's bullshit. Science is basically figured it's right now it's about 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
Anything before that
is just
anecdotal.
white noise.
White noise.
Good.
Yeah. And they say that your core memories aren't necessarily always ausschlaggebend, as it were.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, beyond being a milk carrier, give me one fun thing you've done.
Well, my parents were here.
Your parents were here?
That was fun.
How? What?
It was
a smooth,
crazy stressful, but it was fun.
But a smooth visit.
Yeah.
Did you notice your dad looking at you any differently now that you are a dad yourself?
It's possible.
Did you?
Like he said several times, "You've got your work cut out for you here." Like this is a big challenge. But he said that to Christina as well.
Right. Is that like a normal thing for him?
No, he's never said that before.
Did you notice your mom looking at you differently now that you're a dad?
Yeah, I guess so as well. It's kind of in the same way. Yeah.
Did your mom...
Like they both said that we're much more relaxed and patient parents than they ever were, or they ever felt they were.
Did your mom do anything to annoy Christina?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Like all the time.
Okay, is that a dynamic for them?
No, not really.
Okay.
Well, yes, I guess so. No, absolutely, of course. Yeah. My mom constantly does things that annoy my wife, and when I do things, she say, "You're so much like your mother." I hope she's watching the show actually, because today is our 13th anniversary.
Today is 2009. It's in my calendar.
I wonder why it's in your calendar actually.
Oh, because I try to remember things. And I love you guys.
Yeah. So today we are officially together for 13 years.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
Crazy.
So what about you? What was fun?
I tell you, I had the most fun just recently. I get to be the artistic director of a festival for improvised theater here in Vienna called Moment. And we had a cast, an ensemble of guests and locals that was just so incredible. And I spent a week bathing in light and love and graciousness.
So you got that good color.
Patience and artistry and just an amazing, amazing time. Every night I thought after the show, how are we going to follow this the next night? Every night the house was full of people who were into it and rocking it. And sometimes there were nights where people left the audience just standing a little bit closer, talking about themselves more than the show, you know? I mean, really being touched by the things that we've been doing.
And I'm, unfortunately, I missed the whole fucking thing because my parents were here, and you know, I thought insanely that I'd be able to somehow wiggle my way into at least one show.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It was fantastic, and it was the end of a lot of work for me, because I did this whole ORF thing, which is coming out on the 28th.
Oh, that is now coming out, really?
Yeah,
so
it's
you're done.
coming
You're done with it?
Yeah, I haven't gotten paid yet, but I'm done.
So you're not done yet.
And yeah, I'm psyched to see how that all goes down, what happens.
So the ORF, the whole ORF thing has been shot. It's in the can, and you've got a date for it to go on air.
Yeah, and so the first one goes out on the 28th, and then it'll be every Friday after that, 3 Fridays after that.
Nice.
2015 on ORF Nummer 1. And that's pretty exciting.
8:15 on a Tuesday.
On a Friday,
On a
baby.
Friday.
This is prime time.
Wow.
You know, I got to sit in a press conference for the show with the nagelneue Direktorin, the ORF, the brand new director. And she said in that press conference, she said how important improvisation was for the ORF, how important the improvisation was for the future of the ORF, and how proud she was that this was one of the first shows to be put out under her new...
Well, that sounds amazing.
And I
hope the show doesn't get cancelled, because otherwise improv is going to crash and burn at the ORF again.
I hope so too. No, I think it was great, and it was really fun, and there was some really fun, funny stuff that came out of it, and some wonderful people that worked on that show, and I was really, really glad for it. After the press conference, I went to her and I shook her hand, and I just thanked her that someone of her stature in that sort of position would say something like that was really important. Later at the festival, I was telling the audience about that, and I said, of course, it's 20 years too late, but for Austria, 10 years too early.
Yeah. So, yeah. Start grooming whoever's going to follow you up.
Yeah.
We're getting messages. You should be... it's telling us we're on air.
Oh, thank God.
Great.
So let's go to the chat and see who's here. Dudes and dudettes, Is dude a gender neutral term? I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes.
They always say yes until I ask them this. How many dudes have you slept with? Yeah, see?
I think if
it gets weird.
If I count everybody, then it's 39.
Yeah, see? then it gets weird though. It makes you pause. Anyway, let's check it out. Let's see who's here. I'm so excited to see who's here. Look who's here. Follower of Clay. Let's just stop for a second.
Yes.
Follower of Clay, thank you so much for all of these painful and funny and painfully funny cuts of wackadoo that you have done. They are hilarious and painful. But Dan,
Yeah, but kept the Olympian fire going.
absolutely,
Totally.
holding the ISBAZ flag high.
Yes. Thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you. So Follower of Clay is indeed in the house. Andrew Toy in the house. How you doing, Mr. Perkins?
Verena is in with the threat, and we hope so. Yes.
Yes, it's totally gonna be about stuff.
You down there?
Swear. Philly Girl 1000 in the house. How you doing? Yes, the beard is back. The beard is back. That sounds like an Elton John
the
song
bitch is
that
back.
got cut. Yeah.
The
beard is no, it's not. I'm gonna go with bitch. Yeah. Look at Verena took a sailing trip on a catamaran. Super fun and better than I had imagined. Now see. How many times do we have to convince you to take a catamaran trip?
Yeah.
She was so on the fence about it all the time.
Yeah.
Should I?
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know. Is it gonna
it's
be
got two
fun?
hulls. Which one am I going to sleep in?
Am I going to get
You
an
could fall in
imprint
the middle.
of the net that
Yeah.
like in between? Like, is it going to be an imprint on my butt?
Yeah.
If I lay out there too long. But
It's
we were all like, no, dude, take the catamaran trip. It's
yeah,
going to be
yeah,
awesome. You're going to love it.
So good for that.
Core memory unlocks this.
Monica's here.
Moko in the house. Moko sneaking
Mocha's
in there.
like, hello.
Yeah, Mocha's all like, hello.
I think Mocha's all about getting ready for Halloween.
I feel like Moko in the ISBAZ HQ, I feel like she's a little bit like a cat who's a little bit beleidigt that we've been away so long. I hope that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're really
I think
glad.
she ate all the plants.
She definitely ate plants. She pooped in your shoes. Totally.
The kids got salmon and potatoes the other day.
Your kids?
Yeah.
Salmon and potatoes? Your kids eat better than my kids.
And then they both had kitty breath for the whole day. It was like, it's so funny. They really like pets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Moko.
Moko's
Martina
here.
Riedler.
Martina's in the house. What'd you miss? All of it. You missed the first slurp. Speaking of slurps, we should have another slurp.
We should definitely have another slap. Cheers.
Slurp, slurp, everybody, slurp.
Great news. Yes. Mm-hmm.
First slurp. The Comedy Challenge. Yeah, exactly. That's the show. The Comedy Challenge is the show that I worked on.
And you were kind of working with the participants, the candidates to kind of help them.
I worked with everybody.
Really?
I had a hand in writing bits. I had a hand in writing, structuring the show. I was working directly with a legend, Sandra Klingohr, who I just learned so much from. And this woman, she is a character, and I am just...
What a great name, Klingohr.
Yeah.
It's like
And her
sound
husband,
air.
she and her husband, and that whole family, they've been doing stuff for years. And so she's like one of those characters, she's got these glasses, and she's just a person who's just there, and she has seen everything. Without her, there's like no Echtvet. Without her, there was no Kaiser von Österreich. There's no.
Oh, really?
Without her, there's like no MA24.
Really? Good. Well, she sounds like someone we should like.
Oh, we do indeed.
Excellent.
So much. And and then also, of course, I got to work with all of these candidates, eight of them out there, and they're all people that have been working it for a couple of years, but they don't have any television presence. And then I got to work with the four prominent celebrities, two of whom I've known for a long time, Manuel Rubai and Angelika Nedetsky, the Gailey, and two who I met just recently, but have known of for a long time, seen at parties or whatever.
Who are they?
Andreas Witasek and Robert Palfreider.
Right.
And they were all super cool as well. I was given a lot of responsibility, and it was really fun. And it was really fun for me to dive into that and just be the guy. And then I got Corona.
Yeah, like right in the fucking middle of recording that. This is what I wanted to say. The Corona thing obviously totally sucks. What I find fascinating about the position you're in at the moment is that you've been there while a candidate show has been recorded, and you know how it ends.
Yeah.
But nobody else does, and
That's
it's gonna air, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, well, how this is gonna turn out? Who's gonna make it, and who's gonna get kicked out?" But you already know the whole thing,
right?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I really loved about this show is that secretly, it's doing a huge service. Each one of those 8 candidates, they won when they made the audition.
Yeah, right. Because they're getting all this airtime.
Nobody falls out. All of them are in it for all 4 shows.
Oh, that's nice.
And one of them wins it at the end. And it was like really important for me to turn everybody into like one ensemble, to make it like the best experience of a maestro or something, where they were all helping each other and pushing each other and just letting them know that it's freaking 90 minutes, 4 times. It's 360 minutes of basically getting paid to advertise you're funny. And that's just fantastic.
Yeah, I get paid when I advertise my funny too. You've seen it.
Oh,
you paid for it.
I've paid for your funny so many times. Jesus Christ.
I like to get my funny up in Jim's face.
So that was how our week was going. That's how your week was going.
The weeks.
And the weeks and the weeks. There was so much stuff that happened. But I think it's time to just
I think we're just going to commit it to bygone history.
Yeah, fuck it. It's all gone. It's all back then. We can reminisce. We can think about yumminess from the past. But we can also move forward.
Move forward.
Yeah.
Definitely. Move forward in giant bounds and leaps.
Bounds and leaps.
Episode 70 to episode 71.
71.
91 weeks later.
That's right. 1970. Okay. Wait.
What?
Before we go to chapter 1.
What?
I'm going to do an episode 71. Super sexy insertion. Super sexy insertion. Here's my super sexy insertion.
Please. Yes, insert me. We didn't actually, I didn't recognize that aspect of it.
Yeah, well, I've just figured out that if I keep my mouth shut when you say stupid shit like that, it'll be really easy for Faller of Clay to edit it into something hilarious.
But you can't keep your mouth shut. You never could.
Yeah, but this is my new game.
I challenge you.
Here's my super sexy insertion. Old photographs of old relationships. Do you have a box of them? Do you hang on to them? Or are they all gone? Just speaking of the past and letting it go.
I don't have photographs in separate boxes. It's like all one big box.
Right. But I mean, you have a box of past relationships.
No.
No. Okay, then how about answering my question?
What is your question exactly?
My question is,
you said, do I have a box?
Relationships,
yeah.
Do you keep a figurative box? Do you keep shit
it's
from
a figurative box.
Whatever your fucking container is. My point my point is...
I have an
listen
actual
to my-
box. I have a container.
I don't know this. This is why
that's what I said. I have an actual box.
of old relationships?
No, of photographs. I don't sort them according to old relationships and other things.
Okay. But what I'm saying is you have mementos of old relationships. You
Yes,
hang on to them.
these I do.
Is my question.
Well, that wasn't your question just
It
now.
truly was.
You've
If
changed
you
it
had
now.
just listened to it,
It's
it
not
was.
true.
It really,
I have
really was.
witnesses. But please go on.
So this is the sexiest of the super sexy insertions that I've been able to get to in
It's
this
X insertions
episode.
in my case.
Jesus Christ. We'll try the super sexy insertion again later.
No, I'm burning to find out what this is. No, please.
No,
please.
we're moving to
Don't-
chapter 1.
What? Tell me your super sexy insertion. Please, insert it. Insert it into
The
me.
insertion is the whole idea of the super sexy insertion is that we insert into the conversation just a little quick little, shove away, and then we move on. Just a little, gag and go kind
What's
of
the
a
thing
thing.
about the relationships in the photographs?
I was just, wondering if you hang on to those and if you ever look at them.
I see. Okay, moving on. Yeah, I do. Whenever I go through that big box of photographs, those things turn up.
Awesome, I'm super interested in that. Let's move on to chapter 1.
The one thing you would change about yourself.
On the one thing you would change about yourself. What you decide to do on Thursday nights, I think would be right at the top of my list right now.
Pretty close. Okay, if I could change something about myself, it would be how much of you I put up with.
Okay, so I think we first need a slurp.
Marcus Booker is back. Oh, sorry. Sorry, yes, slaps. Sorry, slaps. Everybody should drink when we drink. Let's remind them of that. Did you do a slurping thing?
I did.
You did. I'm having a whale of a time. I'm having me time.
I'm just
This
reminding
is like I don't get me time very often.
Right.
Like 15 minutes in the morning to take a poop, and then
50?
15.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say
50 would be nice.
I would be worried about your piles.
Well, you can always sit on. No, let's not go there.
Jesus. Okay. So I'm just reminding myself I need to be patient because you don't get out much anymore.
Yes.
Right.
You're reminding yourself to be patient because
Yes.
I don't get out much anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, you're reminding. You are
I'm
reminding.
reminding myself to be patient with you because,
Is this something you're going to change about yourself? Or you'd like to change in the future?
here's our chapter 1 on the one thing you would change about yourself. So let's try this out, folks. What's the thing, if you could change about yourself, what would you change about yourself? We're going deep, we're going hard. I got a top 10 list.
I think everybody has a top 10 list if they start thinking about it. But
Yeah.
just drop the one that you want to share in the chat.
Yeah.
I think there's like minor things that you change about yourself, and then there's major things you try and change about yourself.
Yeah. I always think when I start thinking about the changes I want to make, the minor ones always lead back to the big ones for me.
Well, I mean, there are things that you want to change about yourself sort of psychologically or emotionally, but there's also things you want to change about yourself physically, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
Which I guess you weren't thinking about when we came up with this.
No, but apparently you were.
No, I wasn't. I only just thought of it now.
Kidding. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I think we need to make a chapter about like what would you most.
What do you want?
What do you want to change about him?
Him.
The person sitting next to you. If you could, the one thing you could change about the person sitting next to you.
I really could. That would be fantastic.
You know, I wish you could have an app where you can sort of have settings and an app for the person sitting next to you. Just sort of rearrange the settings depending on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just turn down the volume sometimes. That'd be enough.
I think I would want to be braver.
In what respect?
Well, I think in more aspects, not respects, but in aspects. Like, I think I'm fairly brave in some aspects of my life, but in other aspects, I'm not brave at all, and I think I would want to be braver. Mm-hmm. Marcus is in the house. Hey, Marcus. He says, be more selfish. And I think maybe these are connected, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Maybe it comes down to being, I think maybe, really, truly, it always comes back for me. It always comes back to fear and dealing with fear of repercussion, fear of
yeah, no, I totally understand.
Fear
As fear of loss,
fear of loss, fear of change.
Yeah, it's like even the if you're looking for change, but you don't have the guts to demand it because you might lose the whole shizzle, right?
Right.
And I think we kind of get ourselves into that situation where we think, if I do this one thing, it's going to screw up my whole career or my whole life.
Yeah.
But usually it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's because you're so in your head that you can only see this one outcome. And a lot of the time, these acts of bravery where you kind of demand something, you say, this is how far I'm going, or I want this, I'm not going to take any more of this.
Yeah.
Is actually a minor blip if you look at your whole if you look at your whole life. You always think of it as the big boy.
Yeah.
But it's actually more like a hand grenade.
Yeah. Or a fart in the wind.
Yeah.
Things often are scarier the further away they are, whether that be in space or time or in aspect. And the closer you get to them, often the less scary they are.
Well, if you have no experience of what something is, that's that creates a lot of fear.
And fear is a thing that I know that we'll always have, and that's why I think I go to bravery, because bravery isn't not having that fear. Bravery is
going ahead in spite
of the fear, having the fear and taking the step forward anyway.
I was listening to Bruce Springsteen the other day in the car, and there's a line that goes, "Fear's a terrible thing. It'll take your God-filled soul, fill it with devils and dust."
The boss just dropping the truth bombs all over the place. What's you got a thing that you would change? We just
So right off the top of my head, I'd love to be able to react differently.
Oh, okay. That's a crazy
I
one.
do it even with experience of dealing with people, situations, emotions, with this whole back catalogue of experience with things. I still get into situations, be it with myself, with others, work colleagues, whatever. And it's so hard to not react on that first reaction, that first gut reaction that I always have to everything. What I'd really love to be able to do is just let that, whatever that thing is, come in, consider it, look at it from a couple of angles, and then react to it.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much that gets fucked up in those split-second decisions.
Yeah.
You come back and you come back exactly the same way you've always come back in that situation, and then you've got all the repercussions that you need to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, like those weird social scripts that
Yeah.
we have to follow.
It's like the ball's coming towards you, and instead of catching it, deciding what kind of fucking ball it is. Like, is it a round ball? Is it an oblong ball? Is it brown? Is it red? Is
Meanwhile,
it green?
it smacks you in the face.
Is it
Volleyball.
you want to put it in a hoop? You want
yeah.
to throw it over a net? You want to kick it? You know? And instead you're just swatting it back or throwing it to the ground or something. You don't even know which ballpark you're in. Like, this is what I'm, you know, my situation. I don't even know which ballpark I'm in, and I've really smacked the ball away. And then it's like, oh, it was baseball we were playing. I shouldn't have thrown it through that hoop.
Yeah.
That's something that I'd love to change.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing, the breathing in of situations, and sometimes entering a situation where you think I can deal with the situation at a tempo, but not necessarily truly being able to master that situation at that tempo. And it's very hard to slow that tempo down, to give yourself, as you said, that moment to bring it in.
Well, because you're always taking on the tempo of whoever you're dealing with or whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And the question is, a lot of the time you don't have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do things in your own tempo.
Yeah.
But you need to remind yourself that to do it, you need to be... Actually, I mean, the thing is, you need to realize seconds or minutes before you get into the situation that you're heading into this kind of situation.
Yeah.
You need to remind yourself, this is what's going to happen. This is what happened the last million times you got into this situation. Don't fuck it up again.
I suppose it's also giving yourself permission. It's giving yourself permission to not follow the script, to not go, to truly go with what is happening in this moment. And to understand that the tempo that the moment has is what you're both bringing to that moment.
The thing is also that we're kind of conditioned to take on someone else's narrative of what the moment is.
Well, this is what I mean.
Inserting our own, right?
This is what I mean. Is like rather than going with that pre-described tempo, that to remind ourselves that it's not a genre.
Yeah.
But there's those weird conversations of genre where it goes duck, man. Hey, slurpers, peeps. Oops. Did it slurp?
Nope.
There's slurp. There we go.
So let's get to the chat.
Well, we did go to the chat.
Oh.
Everyone else is okay. And we also know that there are a lot of lurkers, the slurpers out there, who aren't on the chat. If you aren't on the chat, that's totally cool. But if you would like to get on the chat, we would love to see you and have you say hello. All the folks are really nice. So change the thing also about, what's the thing that you would change about yourself? I think, for me, the biggest hurdle is the work. It's hard.
Changing things about yourself.
Changing things about yourself is super hard.
It can also be expensive.
Yeah.
If you're changing physical things about yourself.
Changing physical things about yourself, changing psychological things about yourself is super hard. Changing physiological things about yourself is super hard. Habits are super hard to change. Change is hard. It's why we have so much fear around it. It's really the biggest, hardest thing. That's right. You come to It Should Be About Something to get really smart nuggets of knowledge, just like that one. Change is hard. Good work, Libby. Change is hard. What do you say? Shall we move on? What are you looking at? Michael, are you here?
Yeah, I was looking for the factoids. Is it that?
Yes.
Well, you just got factoided, but it's kind of late now.
You factoided me?
No. I was going to give you that as a factoided thing.
You just got factoided. You're welcome.
It doesn't say factoided on the button.
No.
It's in code. It's in Libby code.
I think it's time to move on to chapter 2, Michael.
Yes.
You're the one that wants to move it. Let's move
definitely.
it.
I think I feel like this could also be your least favorite pub games.
Chapter 2, on your favorite pub games. The idea here was we were talking about card games, and then we thought, well, what are those games that you play while you're drinking? So these could be the games that you play in a pub, or maybe it's summertime and you're at the public pool sitting underneath one of those umbrellas, and you got some fries that you got from the stand and you're playing a game because you're drinking. Or maybe, I'm
trying to imagine the game with the fries and the drinking, but yeah, it's great.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
I remember sitting exactly in that situation playing Connect 4.
I have no idea.
So you don't know what Connect 4 is?
The fries were involved in Connect 4?
You don't know what Connect 4 is? Connect 4 is that game where it stands up like that and you put checkers in and you're supposed to get 4 in a row.
Right. It has nothing to do with the fries.
No, but it was in that situation where I was underneath the umbrella at the pool eating fries and drinking.
Okay.
And so the idea here was that what are the games that you play while you're drinking? What are the pub games?
So one of the pub games that I really always wanted to play when I was a kid was darts.
Darts?
Because when I went somewhere with my parents, and my dad was in the Rotary Club, and we went to all these Rotary Club dues, like some of the fundraisers and stuff, and they always set up a bar, and there was always darts.
Yeah.
And it was always like these grown men drinking beer and smoking cigarettes and playing darts.
Yeah.
So that was something that I aspired to.
Some of my earliest memories are playing darts in bars. So my dad, as we know, was a drinker, and I would hang out in these bars, and my dad was into darts. We always had a dartboard downstairs, and I, got my own darts.
Me
and
too.
Was all into the weights and the feathers, and I had the whole thing. And I got really good at darts. There was a while where I was very good at them. In fact, when I was like 17, 18, just around that time, just before I broke out, my buddy and I, we were trying to get it together so that we could go to Ireland and play music and hustle darts. And that's how we were going to pay for it. And then, one thing led to another, and that didn't happen. But yeah, darts was a big thing for me up into my 20s.
I haven't played, I stopped playing darts when I came to Europe.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the actual darts. They have those funny plastic things, which is just...
Yeah, the electronic darts are bullshit.
It's just crap.
So, card games? Since that's where we started? What do you got for card games?
Well, I started playing poker maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Back when it was cool.
But, who really cares about poker? It's like... there's a couple of games that are kind of interesting, like
Texas Hold'em.
No, Texas Hold'em's the... Is it? No, Texas Hold'em. Oh, Texas Hold'em's the one you put them down in the middle.
With the flop and the river.
That's right, yeah. So I played a fair amount of Texas Hold'em, but it's like... At some point, it's like... You're not really playing for money. And if you were, you'd be stupid. Especially if you play like I do. And it kind of loses its thing.
What's the card game that you play?
These days I still play Rummy with Christina.
Now, Rummy, is that the one with the 2 decks and... No.
Well, you can play it with 2 decks if you lots of people, but we play with 1 deck.
Okay, and it's the one where you have to, you get 30 points and you have to put it down.
No, you get 7 cards and you need to make groups. So you can have 3 of a color, right? So you can
and you put them
4
down.
of one and 3 of the other.
You're trying to get rid of your cards.
You're trying to get rid of your cards.
Yeah.
And if you kind of play it professionally, you tally up how many
cards you have left over.
And then it kind of the end of the day.
So I played this with Anna's grandparents.
Oh, totally. Oh.
And super into it. Super fun.
Yeah.
With my mom, I used to play Kings in the Corner all the time, and I still love this game.
Is it a game you played against each other or with each other?
You play kind of against each other. You play against each other, in fact, but it's sort of like solitaire. You have to sort of put down cards and opposing things.
Oh, there are sort of like team or multiplayer versions of solitaire that I've played. Yeah, I used to play that with my gran actually. Solitaire.
Yeah, those were all really fun. Now, when I first came to Austria, the thing that they played in Salzburg, so there were 3 games that they played all the time when we were drinking. One was that dice game, like poker.
Yeah.
Poker
lie
dice.
It's lie dice.
What?
Lie dice is what
lie
it's called
dice.
in English. No, it's in English it's called lie dice.
Lie dice.
Because you're lying about what's in there.
Oh, I'm not talking about that game. I'm talking about the Austrian poker game where you have the dice and then you have to.
I think it's still called lie dice. Even if you're playing it just like poker, you're kind of looking for the flush.
You're looking for all these things.
Yeah.
It's like Yahtzee.
Yeah.
Right? But it was poker. And then the other game that they would play was called Nageln, where you had a big stump and a big fat nail, and you would just smack it with a hammer, trying to get it
to go in
one, or to whoever get closer. It was a drinking game, which always flipped me out because I'm like, why are we putting so much alcohol around hammers and nails that somebody's not gonna end well, people.
Right. And what was the other one?
And the third game they played was Pass the Herpes. Just Pass the Herpes. They were just giving each other herpes all the time. I don't know.
I've never played that game. Doesn't sound like fun.
Herpes. I give you my herpes. I have a herpes here. It's a jiggle the herpes, take the herpes off. You can.
Put it on my head. I give you my herpes. I have it down here between my legs.
I give you herpes, my brother.
I don't know. Where do you want to put my herpes?
It's a very nice herpes.
Yes.
What do we got here? So, the pub quiz. Now that's a fun game. That's like the one game where I think, because I don't really care about pubs. I don't go to pubs anymore. Who the fuck gives a shit about pubs? But if you went somewhere where you knew, okay, the food's good, we'll have a drink, and this fun game, there were some
There's
really
so many things that need to come together there.
So many things.
I mean, at Shabin's, that Shabin pub quiz that Andrew's talking about, there was a sweet spot there because back then the food was good at Shabin. They had that great pub quiz going, and it was just a great place to go and hang out. It was just a fun pub. But that's changed completely. The food's crap.
Shabin.
Yeah, it's got no charm anymore, and the pub quiz is crap too.
Andrew is talking about going to a thing called Top Golf, where you try to hit golf balls a la driving range, but with targets, and there's alcohol and food.
Totally.
So kind of pub.
So I saw that on Facebook. He posted it, and I thought, I need to do this.
This is like such a quintessential American activity for me. It's like, if something like that came out in Austria, your first thought would be, oh, somebody went to America and saw that.
Well, it's actually already come out in Austria. And there's people who play it, and I've been wanting to go and play it because playing golf is fucking expensive in Austria, and I like to play golf. But there's this thing called off-road golf that Germans and Austrians play, and you go and play it in old factory grounds and stuff like that, and you say, that window up there, that's your thing, and everybody's playing for that window up there.
And
then
you
it's
smash the window.
and then it's that tin can over there,
Right.
or right.
Is there food and alcohol?
Well, you can take food and alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
see, but this is nothing like what we're talking about.
No,
But
it's exactly like what we're talking about. This is the organized one where you have a way to bring you the food and the alcohol.
Yes. See, what you were describing sounds a lot like vandalism with extra steps.
We should talk about vandalism at some point, actually, because
Yes.
you have no idea.
Yes. Well, yes, if you count the guy driving the machine to collect the balls, they didn't go into the car. Yeah, extra points.
So that sounds like a lot of fun, Andrew, actually. I need to do that.
6 day, 1 cut. Yeah. So Würfelpoker. Yeah. So a follower of Clay is talking about when mom comes to visit, they play Strasse, and it's Würfelpoker, and that was everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't see that anymore. I remember there was a time where
You don't
there
go to
would
pubs
be,
anymore.
No, certainly not. And I guess those cafes still exist where they exist because they're filled with games. You know, where people
I
go
walked
to
past the
hang out.
Café Corny on Westbahnstraße, right next to Minante, that pizzeria that we used to go to.
Yeah.
It still exists. I went there like in the 90s. A girlfriend of mine worked there. And that was one of those places.
Right. So is that an age thing? Is that like...
It could be. I
You
think
go to
everybody
those
who's
places?
there now is 60 plus.
Or are they the age that we were when we went to those places? Like Alt Wien in the Ersten Bezirk. There was a time where you would go to Alt Wien, and that was a place where they had games, and you would play games.
Yeah,
there,
I think the audience has changed. I think
So-
the audience is now our age at
Right.
Alt Wien,
Right,
and people who are younger go somewhere else.
right. So, if that's true, my question then is, what's the new communal living room of the young person today? Because that's basically what that was,
TikTok.
right? We would go to the pub, or we would go to those locales, we would go, to those bars because you didn't have a living room. There wasn't a house party that night. It
Yeah.
was just, we're gonna sit intimate, and maybe it was, your apartment.
But a lot of that
wasn't
was,
big
I think,
enough.
house parties are a really good word for what we used to do in pubs, because there was a pub that you go to, or a club that you go to, and you basically have a house party there because you meet your friends.
Yeah.
And you'll kind of hang out and do your thing there. And yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have friends anymore.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I think that if now I want to play a game with friends, I would certainly invite them to my home where it's
Yeah.
just way more comfortable.
Yeah.
The drinks are free, and
Yeah.
or at least already paid for.
Well, you know that there's alcohol in them.
Oh, yeah.
You're not getting ripped off.
There's going to be snacks.
$15
We can take
drinks
breaks.
with no booze. Yeah,
We can, wrestle on the carpet for a while and then get back to it.
like we do that at your house, wrestle on the carpet.
Yeah.
Every time I walk out the door, they start wrestling on the carpet. That's what happens. It's like, Michael's gone, let's do it now.
We're going to wrestle on the carpet.
Are there pub games that you vowed never to play again?
Pub games that I would vow never to play again. Nah, I don't see any of those games. It's not like bowling, which I would never.
You vowed never to play bowls again.
I really do
like,
not
you never
ever
go
need to
bowling.
go bowling in my life
Right.
again.
Yeah. So I feel the same way about pool.
I hear you.
About
I hear you.
20
I hear
years
you.
ago, I was stuck in this one-horse town in the north of Italy, and the only thing to do at night was go to the local pub and play pool. That was the only entertainment there was.
Right.
And I think I just decided this is a ridiculous game. There's no point.
There is no point.
Forget about it completely.
Because
And I-
you're so
and I haven't
alone. Even
played
if you're
pool since
playing
then.
with a bunch of people, you're
No, it's
playing
just-
alone.
it's just-
And you're just like, I'm going to talk to you. What? I'm up
Yeah.
again. Okay. Let's get into a conversation. What? I'm up again. Okay.
It's a ridiculous
yeah,
game.
fuck you.
There's
Jesus Christ.
absolutely no point to it. Something I've played that I've enjoyed playing is Cards Against Humanity. That's kind of fun.
That's a super fun game.
That's a fun
You
game.
can have a super fun time with that. Absolutely. Well, there are pub games left out there. We should all do those.
Andrew vowed never to play rock, paper, scissors, loser drinks the straw 80 in the back of a taxi with Jim. But rock, paper, scissors is how many of our disputes in my home are settled.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's rock, paper, scissors.
Is that how...
Best of three.
Best of three. So, like, what's a typical rock, paper, scissors decider? Like, what would be decided there?
It's like where we're getting takeout from.
And she says one, you say another. It's time to rock, paper, scissors.
It's like there's no common ground. You know,
Right.
sometimes.
And so you have to go two out of
like
three.
two out of
Who
three.
wins the most?
I think we're both pretty intuitive about the other one's game, so I think it's pretty much 50-50.
Okay. If
Like
she wins with a thing, generally people will try to win with the same thing, they say.
Yeah, her thing's definitely scissors. She likes the scissors. But scissors are good.
Yeah.
Scissors have won her a lot of me taking out the trash. Or
Our
our new thing is actually we have this airtight trash can that holds the baby diapers. Mm-hmm. So we have it in the apartment. Mm-hmm. You can't smell the diapers while they're in that thing. Right?
Fantastic.
It's actually the best
Love it.
investment that we made since we started buying stuff for kids. But you need to open it on the terrace, because once you open that fucker, it smells so bad. All that bad smell comes out in one fell swoop. So we play rock, paper, scissors about who's going to go outside.
Who's going to
and
go
do
out to get it? Maybe you can get like an active charcoal filter to put on, like in the lid.
And you have to open the lid to get the shit.
Yeah,
You need
yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah. Oh, and did you know that baby poop smells through a closed plastic bag? You can put baby poop in 3 layers of plastic bag and knot them all. You can still smell that baby poop.
Dang. Well, that was our chapter on pub games. Now we're
I
going
wonder whether
to...
there's a pub game involving baby poop.
Every game where you bring your baby to the pub. We're going to now move on to a word from...
Wait,
two.
But before we do that, actually,
Yes.
we need to have a look, just clean this up here.
Marcus recommends going to the Cafe Zip on the Burggasse for games and alcoholics. Andrew vowed never to play rock, paper, scissors because of the Stro 80. I seem to remember Andrew saying, quazzling something about, it'll be like a mouthwash. And him
Like you drink that.
spitting it out very quickly going, oh my God, it burns. And it was not like a mouthwash.
It probably was like a mouthwash. You wouldn't
no,
drink
it was
liters of mouthwash.
No, it was not like a mouthwash. It was not a good. It was not a good
Thin
moment.
down to 40.
Yeah. The certain chemical compounds can permeate plastic. Yes, the chemical compounds of baby poop. Get you
we were
some
walking-
baby poop.
Walking back along the ring the other day.
Yes.
Past Hiltonplatz, where
Yes.
all the Fiaker are parked.
Yes.
And we got this whiff of horse manure.
Yes.
And we both went, recognize that smell.
Jesus Christ. You heard it here first, folks. Michael's twins' poops smell like horse shit. Horse shit. All right, this is a word
Moving
to our
on.
sponsors.
Yes.
And now we're back to the show. Hello.
I think I'm calling it. We're passing out stickers to everybody who's on the chat tonight.
You know, I just don't want your mouth to start writing checks your ass can't cash. because you've got a lot of shit coming up in the next couple of weeks.
This is the one thing about me that you'd like to change if you could.
Well, I'm just saying right now, that's a big promise.
Yep.
And there's a lot of postage and going to post offices.
Everybody who's on the chat tonight, get some stickers. So,
all right, you heard it here first.
Go to the Isbaz HQ and drop me a message there with the address you would like those stickers sent to.
I like this, Michael. This is he's being sugar daddy. Mm-hmm. All right, sugar daddy Michael. Mm-hmm. Bring in the sugar. Gonna get yourself a little sugar in that bowl.
What are you feeding your children? Baby food.
And those babies turn that food into baby poops that smell like horse shit.
It's quite incredible how stinky baby poop can be.
Oh, by the by, Andrew, I'll just pick mine up in December when I visit.
Yeah. Nice.
Freaking Mr. Perkins gonna be in the house. That's gonna be amazing. Yes, still need wish list for Mr. Perkins. Okay, we'll figure that out. Just to throw this in here right now, we're in the gray zone.
Yeah. It's all gray. It's gray, different shades of gray.
After tonight, we know we're going to have to take another break. And it won't be until mid-November. So,
I think mid-November is what we've calculated is the earliest.
Probably
that we could do.
The 17th is the earliest. We're going to find a time to try to get some weeks in a row in, but right now, there's a lot of moving to be done.
We are moving into a house.
I'm going to Germany tomorrow for the weekend, and then I go to Switzerland again, and it's all
not only his face, the whole of him.
The whole of me is traveling, and the whole of him is familying,
moving things. So it's going to be a little bit tough to do an Isbaz regular like.
Right.
So this is like the in between Isbaz.
The gray zone things. Can we do that together? The gray zone. Okay, let's do that. The gray zone. Ridiculous.
Totally.
Why?
Totally ridiculous. Why would anybody do this show, let alone watch it?
It's really hard to tell.
It is. Yeah.
Yes.
The one thing
Congratulations to Mike
change.
and happy housewarming.
Thank you.
It's coming. It's like Christmas. But that's the story on that Isbaz. I think it's time to move on, Michael.
I absolutely think.
Here we go.
I totally agree with you.
This is chapter 3. On going to the theater. What the hell are we on about this?
Well, so when you first said this, I think you were talking about the season kind of re-beginning now, and there was the moment, and we played the first English Lovers show.
We did. That was super
last
fun.
week with our new friend and great improviser,
Rama Nicholas.
Totally.
And in fact, it's
Whose
her
name-
birthday
Oh
today.
yeah, 2010.
It's her birthday today. Hello and happy birthday,
Rama Nicholas.
the lady Miss Rama Nicholas, who killed it in... This is Michael jiggling Rama's balls. She killed it at Moment.
She got big balls.
She does. One of the just lovely memories is we go to do the late night. Michael meets Rama for the second time, and we go out on stage. Michael enters the scene. Rama's first words are, "I've made a decision. I want your sperm." And Michael just looks at her and says, "I thought you'd never ask." It was amazing. It was an amazing...
Best show ever.
Best show ever. And so big shout out to Rama. Thank you so much for being our guest to that. So yeah, going to the theater, I have to admit, I was a little scared because this summer it was fine, but it wasn't great. And coming into the fall, getting corona, people still being weird about making reservations or doing that really late. we've got our Christmas show coming up in December, and who knows?
Well, I mean, I'm really psyched because the Moment was sold out. Our first show was sold out.
Yeah.
There was a ton of new faces. So it's actually it's looking pretty good.
Right.
So I'm kind of psyched about going to the theatre
Yes.
this season, and I'm hoping that I can play as many of the Christmas shows as possible.
I mean,
and yeah,
I wonder. Here's, I guess, a question for the chat. And maybe this is too specific. Maybe our sample size is too small. But when's the last time you went to the theater? When you went, was it fun? And maybe, would you recommend an
Going to the
evening
theater?
out to that place? Like, would you recommend it to a friend?
we did
Or-
that show on Sunday with that Jelinek thing.
Yes.
That was like 50% about the shows being put on in theatre are chasing the audience away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's a definite aspect of that. Maybe that's always been part of the aspect of theatre, is that the stuff that gets put on is just not everybody's piece of cake.
Yeah.
I mean, I think theatre is a very specific thing. Back when it was the mainstream entertainment,
Yeah.
that was different.
Yeah.
But then when TV came along and when the movies came along, theatre became something very specific.
Yeah.
For a very specific demographic of people.
Yeah.
And as tastes change, the theatre, the new age of theatre becomes indigestible for the older audience. You're always kind of, you're in it for a while, and if you can't move along with the flow, you're out of it. Or you move to another type of theatre.
Yeah.
But even there, you're going to reach a point where it's no longer the thing you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there was a time where we would go out, like swell time. We would go to their parties, right?
Yeah.
And then there was a time where we just did
It
not
just
do
went
that
down
anymore.
the drain.
Yeah, we
Right.
just weren't interested in it anymore. They still did great work, but whatever, it wasn't our thing.
No, they didn't.
In any case, you go through phases, right?
Yeah.
You go through phases of things, and I guess going to the theater is that as well.
You mean going to the theatre in general is its own phase?
Yeah.
Maybe you do that there's times in your life when you do it. The thing is also about theatre, it's more expensive than all of the other entertainment. So getting your money's worth at theatre is really difficult because there's a lot of crap theatre, let's be honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying crap theatre because theatre is usually not designed to appeal to a larger audience, like the movies are. The movies are designed to appeal to a large audience. Theatre is always designed to appeal to a small audience. So the possible audience, 90% of the possible audience are going to find whatever piece is going on crap.
Maybe. I mean, those are big words. But I'm thinking of somebody like Martina, who performs in these great big musicals, and they're performing for hundreds of people every night, if not up towards 1,000 on these touring things, or like Anna's sister, who goes around and they play for, they fill the Stadthalle.
Yes. Sure.
But it's almost like it's a different thing. It's theater as event. It's
but even those big productions
aren't close to the numbers that film get. Of course not. Of course not. Yeah.
Film, right?
But you can have a broader audience of
Yes.
people. I think you and I think of things as crap way more often than Normalsterblichen, mere mortals think of things as crap. I think people are generally good, as opposed to us, and I think that they like to be fans of things.
This is true, but we are also exposed to a lot more theatre than the general public, right?
I suppose there was a time for that, but now, I mean, I try to get to some things, but I don't go nearly as often as I
I
used
agree
to.
that I'm not exposed to as much theatre as I was.
It's like saying
10 or 15 years
I
ago.
love playing, ultimate frisbee, but I haven't played it in 10 years.
Yeah. I think I'd hamstring myself if I did.
And so,
And yes, I've seen some of the worst stuff at Book Theatre as well.
yeah, sure.
Like really stuff where like at the beginning of the show, 30% of the seats were taken, and at the end of the show, there was 5% of the audience left.
One of my favorite was
And people walking out in droves.
my favorite stories. I went and saw War of the War of the Roses at the Burgtheater. It was like an all-day thing where it was all like Richard II, Richard III, going through. And I was there with this my girlfriend at the time, and we would watch some things, and then we'd kind of take off and go up into an empty loge and fool
Make
around
out.
and make out, and then go down and watch some stuff, and it was fine enough, it was okay. There was a couple things that
Did you
kind of
get
pissed me off.
complimentary tickets?
No, I don't remember. But my point of my story is, before you cut in, let me just get my story out. Afterwards, I was speaking to a colleague, Christian Strasser, and I was saying how, it was fine, blah, 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 blah. But it was also, I said, it was also good to see that the colleagues also just cook with water. Because there had been this one thing where they had filled up it doesn't matter. Anyway, I just said that. I was like, it was just good to see that they cook with water, and that it's not, the Burgtheater, it's just something. And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, Jim, but they have so much water. They have so much water. And
There is that.
and so, and I get that, because like, we feel like that's got to be the end of it, right? The Burgtheater is supposed to be Austria's Broadway. It's supposed to be the best of the best. It's supposed to be the best of what is on offer. But it's not, of course, because it's just the one that's got the most money.
But is Broadway the best of what's on offer?
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, but I think it's also just the one that has the most money.
I mean, but everyone's always trying to build their Burgtheater, right? I was talking to somebody recently about this in improv. Like, improv doesn't have a Burgtheater, and so everyone tries to build their own Burgtheater. And it's always a Burgtheater of the mind, because there's never going to be a physical space for it. But we try to build, like, what's the Olymp? And Broadway is supposed to be the Olymp. Burgtheater is supposed to be the Olymp.
And sometimes it is.
And sometimes it is.
Sometimes you've got that sweet spot of money and talent and hard work that just goes, and everything's fantastic.
Yeah.
But theatre is extremely hit and miss. And I think I have to give credit to Broadway, although I've never been to Broadway, never seen a Broadway show. But I think the credit that I need to give there is that they're far more concerned about how good is the show, because they're not funded to the extent that the Burgtheater is funded. And what I think, as far as I'm concerned, one of the downfalls of the Burgtheater is they get funded no matter what kind of crap they put on.
Yeah.
They get the same funding.
Yeah.
If they don't sell a fucking ticket.
Yeah.
So that is a problem that I think needs addressing.
Well, I mean, it should be a huge freedom then, and like the ORF, they don't have to sell advertising. They do, but they're they don't have to pay.
They do actually.
They can do anything they want.
No, they don't. They can't, and that's the fucking problem with the ORF. But this is a whole
It's a whole other
fucking
conversation.
different conversation.
All right, let's get back to it.
But-
and yes, things will be shitty because of reasons, and things will be great because of reasons. What I want to know is it time? Is there still room for it? And when we go, what are some of the best practices? What can we say? I think right now, getting back to a relationship to the theater, I would love to tell people to make reservations, make them early, make plans. When we know as artists that people are coming, it just makes everything easier. So make those plans.
Well, it also kind of psychs you up for the event because you know that
Yeah.
people actually come to see it. You're not kind of on the edge of your seat on the day thinking, well, is anybody going to turn up?
And know that, and make plans with friends. I think theater is a group thing. Have somebody on your elbow,
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
so that you can talk about how that thing made you feel.
Well, I think one of the great things about theatre is that very often the theatre will offer a much better possibility or option for talking with other people about what you've just seen than, for
Yeah.
instance, the movies would.
Absolutely.
Or even like watching a movie on your own or at home gives you very few options about discussing what you've seen. And theatre, because you're with people in a room, and then
Yeah.
afterwards you're with people at the bar or in whatever kind of out intermission situation they have. There's that connection to other people.
And alone the fact that you do it, that you make the plans, that you go into the U-Bahn, that you get to the place, that you're sharing those moments with those friends, alone with that fact that this is a place, I'm in it, and this is a moment that is just now. I think it helps to bring us purely into the moment, because theater, you have to be there to get it. We can all get our Netflix recommendations and let them pass by as morning, afternoon, evening, 2:00 in the morning, and hit another episode, and those pass through us, and they can come at any time. But for live art, we all have to kind of agree we're all going to
That
show
we're gonna
up
do this at this
this
time, yeah.
place, and we're all going to do something together.
The crazy thing about live art is that you could be watching the funniest show ever in a cinema.
Yeah.
You're never going to look over at the person sitting next to you. But in a theater, there's a lot more of that. We're all watching this
Yeah.
together because
Yeah.
there's real people on stage. You have that it kind of loosens you up to connect with the real people around you.
Yeah.
I think a theater audience feels a lot more like a homogeneous audience
Yeah.
than a cinema audience ever does.
So let's continue to encourage all of our friends and neighbors to go to the theater. Just tell them how much fun it was, and if they want to go, you're in. Let's go together.
One of my greatest theater experiences was at Book Theater. It was The Crucible by Henry Miller.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this moment where she is being interviewed by the witch hunter,
At the end, or in
and she says the wrong thing.
I am when she lies.
And wow, that was done so well.
That play
Incredible.
kills me every time.
And then one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my whole life was Die Riesen vom Berge. I've forgotten who the author was. It was also at the Book Theater. I think it had 2 intermissions, and I think I might have left in a second. But my God, was that the most boring piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. And then there's people like that.
Episode 71, Super Sexy Insertion.
Ooh!
Did you ever have sex in a theater?
No. Oh, wait a minute. Do you mean during the show?
No. I just mean
like afterwards. Okay.
or
yes.
I don't know, just at all.
Yes.
Okay. Super Sexy 70s Insertion.
Have you ever had sex in a theater during the show?
During a show. No, not during a show.
What about cinema?
I've had some sexy times in cinema.
Were they like over bra sexy times? Something sexy times? Or were they real sexy times?
I've had third base in a movie theater.
Which one is third base?
Like boobs and blowjobs.
Oh. I always
Home
think
run is all the way.
I always think like giving a blowjob in a theater is that you're missing the show.
Yeah, it depends on what the show is.
I guess so.
Yeah. and what's more interesting. Super sexy 70s insertion. All right, that was chapter 3 on going to the theater. We're coming to the end of this episode of It Should Be About Something. It was episode 71.
The first one of the Grey Zone episodes.
Because we are now in
the Grey Zone.
We are now in we are now in the Grey Zone. Mid-November will be the next thing coming up. We are so excited and thankful that you all show up.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah. And
I've been thinking about the show like during the summer and I'd go to Facebook every now and again. And it's just so nice. It's so heartwarming that the Isbaz HQ is happening and then people come to the show. It's just...
like seeing Verena's hardware.
Yeah.
That picture was amazing.
That was great. Oh, we need to know what you made out of that. Was it a bottle opener? Was it what is it, corkscrew?
And yeah, we're gonna come back. It's coming around again, but we've got some miles to go before we sleep. If you're ever in Vienna, look us up. If you're somewhere where we are, say hi. Keep showing up and keep, slurping.
Keep doing what you're doing.
That was episode 71.
Isbaz. Posting to Isbaz HQ.
Yeah, go to Isbaz HQ. Give Michael your address, and he's going to mail you something.
Yes, do that.
It's going to be awesome.
Little sexy sticky
and we'll see how long this Grey Zone lasts. We might even surprise you.
I think next time we come in here, there's going to be no colors at all. It's going to be black and white.
An old-timey black and white, it should be about something.
Good evening. It is 1933.
So, I guess this is it. And I guess what we want to say is, no matter what the problem,
or what it was about,
even if you disagree,
you can always hug it out.
Hug it out?
Hug it out.
Hug it out, everybody. Thank you. We're hugging it out.
See you soon.
Bye. No, go back.
What?
No. Hey,
What?
let's
Do
a
thing.
where
You
say
something.
and
I
say
something.
and
Then
it
will
make
sense.
okay.
This
is
something
that
will
be
on
YouTube
in
perpetuity
for
ever.
the end.